life can become really busy, and we can often forget that our role as Christians is to spread the gospel and to live a changed life. And Paul continuously commends the Thessalonians for living a changed life and for being lights in other people's world. And I just really wanted to encourage you to think of ways that you can preach the gospel to other people and show Jesus' love. My name is Carolyn Bixby, and I'm a sophomore on the second floor of Kingsley. I'm also going to be an RA in Village next year, so if that's where you're planning on living, we should definitely catch up. But first I want to share a small devotional from 1 Thessalonians chapter 1, verses 4 through 10. So let me go ahead and read that for you. So starting in verse 4, "For we know, brothers, loved by God, that He has chosen you, because our gospel came to you not only in word, but also in power and in the Holy Spirit and with full conviction. For you know what kind of men we proved to be among you for your sake. And you became imitators of us and of the Lord, for you received the word in much affliction, with the joy of the Holy Spirit, so that you became an example to all of the believers in Macedonia and Achaia. For not only has the word of the Lord sounded forth from you in Macedonia and Achaia, but your faith in God has gone forth everywhere, so that we need not say anything. For they themselves report concerning us the kind of reception we have had among you, and how you turned to God from idols to serve the living and true God, and to wait for His Son from heaven, whom He raised from the dead, Jesus, who delivers us from the wrath to come." So I want to give you a little bit of background on the Thessalonians first, because I thought it was just really interesting. So the letter is written to the Thessalonians from Paul, and the main theme of the book is the second coming of Jesus and how the new believers can find comfort in the second coming and encouragement in the midst of persecution. So Thessalonica was a Roman capital, so the people there worshipped the Roman or the Greco-Roman gods. So the Christians who lived there were often in the midst of persecution, especially in the early ministry. So Paul is encouraging the church that on the day of the Lord, they can take comfort because they will all be taken up with Jesus, and that in the midst of persecution, they are all saved and in His hand, and that they are chosen, and He teaches them how to be prepared for the second coming in the midst of persecution. So this book is really filled with encouragement and reassurance of their salvation. In fact, Paul mentions that in the beginning of the chapter that the Thessalonians are in his prayers and that he remembers their faith, love, and steadfastness in receiving the gospel and in Jesus. So he reminds them of their salvation to give them encouragement and the power of the Holy Spirit. So I would really encourage you to reflect on your testimony. This is an idea that I learned actually this week from the leader in my worship team at church, and she just encouraged us to reflect on our testimonies because it shows us how God has been faithful and where we are in our walk with Him right now. So I would really encourage you just to reflect on that, and when you receive the gospel, or if you have, and it's really inspiring and it can really show you where you're at. And I also wanted to mention that the Christians in Thessalonica are commended for spreading the gospel to everyone. And I think that this is a really important point to think about because as college students, I for one also know that life can become really busy, and we can often forget that our role as Christians is to spread the gospel and to live a changed life. And Paul continuously commends the Thessalonians for living a changed life and for being lights in other people's world. And I just really wanted to encourage you to think of ways that you can preach the gospel to other people and show Jesus' love, whether that's just through grabbing coffee with someone or talking about themes in the Bible in your class. And I just really wanted to share those thoughts with you because I've been reflecting on it, on how I can share the gospel better, on how I can reflect on my testimony. So, yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this, and I hope to see you guys sometime around campus. Thanks.